Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Diana and you're watching A Seasoned Mom and an Empty Nest. We're going to be doing some more seed planting today. So I was supposed to plant my seeds yesterday, but when I came outside the wind was howling and I'm like, there's no sense in even trying because then they would just blow away. I could have done it inside, but I just really want to be outside right now. I'm kind of getting sick and tired of hanging out inside the house. And so we rearranged our schedule, and what we were going to do on Monday, we ended up doing yesterday, which I'm so thankful that the wind was blowing and changed our schedule. And let me tell you why. We needed to make a trip to Sam's Club, and we were out of toilet paper. So we knew we needed to go get some toilet paper and then, you know, some other items like lettuce and just some of the things that we purchased at Sam's. We went, and y'all, I couldn't believe it. There was no toilet paper. The entire aisle, completely gone of toilet paper. Check out this picture. There was no toilet paper. And while we were standing there with about 10 other people with our mouths hanging open wondering, where's all the toilet paper? By the way, if I didn't tell you this, the day before, the health department, our local health department, issued out a statement telling people to prepare themselves to have to stay home in case the coronavirus hits where we live. And we already needed toilet paper, so we weren't going there to buy up all the toilet paper. But we got to Sam's and everybody in town already bought up all the toilet paper. Can you see Suka back there? He's got his toy. How you doing, Suka? So, while we were standing there, the last pallet of toilet paper came out of the back, and they'd come and dropped it just right in the center of the aisle, and all these people, they just started tearing the plastic off of the toilet paper and throwing big, huge things of toilet paper at everybody, and I'm like, gosh dang, it was going fast. This lady says, look at it's going, everybody's taking out the toilet paper, and I was like, including me, I need one. So I got me a big pack of toilet paper, thank goodness for that. So we went on around shopping, and we got over to where the beans and the rice and the canned goods were. Check out this picture. This is where the beans and rice are supposed to be. Only canned goods that were left was the peas, green peas, and canned mushrooms. All of the corn's gone. All of the green beans were gone. I mean, everything. They just, yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. And so I asked, so after we left there, we went to Walmart. And just out of curiosity, I thought, does Walmart have toilet paper? Well, check out this picture. The answer is no. Walmart did not have toilet paper either. So I used to work at this Walmart that we were at, so I asked one of the ladies there, I'm like, do y'all have toilet paper anywhere? And she says, no. She goes, and last week we ran out of hand sanitizer, and we don't know when we'll have hand sanitizer back. And she said that they don't have any masks, which I use face masks all the time. I use the little round ones when I'm grinding my saw blades to paint. And I need some, but I mean, I'm not going to be grinding any saw blades in the near future. I am going to be grinding some, but not like in the next week or two. But if I were and I needed to for a customer order, I wouldn't even have a mask because they're all gone. And she said the hand sanitizers are gone. There's no Lysol, there's no bleach. And she was right. There was no bleach. There was no Lysol. There was nothing to clean with that was antibacterial. Nothing. There was nothing left on the shelves. And same with Sam's. The only thing that they had at Sam's that would kill 99% of the bacteria was toilet bowl cleaner. That was it. Everything else was off the shelf. No bleach, no 409, nothing. nothing. So I was just shocked. I was so shocked, but I guess, you know what, better to be prepared than not be, because it really would stink if we were in the house. I mean, if we had to stay home, or if we got sick and we couldn't go out and we didn't have, you know, toilet paper or food. I mean, you can always get in the shower if you don't have toilet paper, but you can't, you know, you need to eat. So lucky me, a little secret is, in the past, I used to be a semi-sorter prepper. I built my own grocery store in our basement of our last home, and I had 3 years of stock by date, and I would go down there and shop from my own store and bring it up and put it in the upstairs pantry, and then when I did go to the store, I would buy my replacements and put it back downstairs and rotate my stuff. And we did that for several years, and then we actually got in a position where we used it. We had to. When we moved to Colorado, we had the great expense of buying a new home and putting the down payment and the closing costs and all of that. We had the expense of some of the stuff that we had to repair around here, plus we had to put this ginormous chain link fence around the entire property to keep our dogs contained. And the move itself from state to state was really expensive, and the storage units and all of that. So we just got to the point where instead of buying groceries, we saved our money and was able to use up all of the stuff that I had prepped, and because I was a prepper. One of the things that I prepped with was hand sanitizer. So over the course of years, I ended up with somewhere in the neighborhood, I didn't even count, but it's probably well over 20 hand sanitizers. And there's medical supplies, Band-Aids, alcohol, peroxide, Epsom salts. I have lots of things like that. So anyway, I'm glad for that, for me, that I do have some stuff that are currently out of stock in the stores. I actually have them. I pray that none of y'all out there catch this virus, and if you do, that you get well. And just keep in mind, I go to the CDC website to get my information. I don't just sit and listen to all the hoopla that everybody just keeps, you know, pushing and pushing. I just go to the CDC website and follow their instructions on how to maintain your health and how to try to keep and prevent yourself from getting this virus. And of course, the main thing is wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. So anyway, enough of the coronavirus. Let's talk about something fun. Seed starting. I have this entire tray is going to be done with tomatoes, the whole thing. And I've picked out 10 different types. So I'm going to be starting 50 tomato plants. Well, 2 of them are going to go in my garden. One's going to go to Mike's house. And then the rest I'm going to plant, I'm going to up pot into big pots around the house. And that way my mom will have some plants to take care of, and she doesn't have to try to make her way through the dog run, through the gravel, through the dog run and down to the garden to be, you know, to do any gardening, because the dogs get really wound up and I'm really afraid they're going to knock her down. Not to mention it's kind of hard to walk on these rocks. But I came out here this morning to get started, and the wind once again was blowing. And so I walked around and I walked around until I got around to this side of the house, and I realized that on the east side at least the wind was blocked. So I thought what we would do is sit out here and plant on. The only problem that we might encounter are the dogs. Surprisingly, they're being pretty good. I kind of thought they'd be over here bellowing and making all kinds of noise. Suka, he's making a little bit of noise here and there, but he's whining over his toy for some reason. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fill my trays up with seed starting mix. So Jiffy natural and organic seed starting mix is what I found at our local Walmart. If people were smart, they would be, you know, buying this up instead of all the toilet paper. But sorry. So what I'm going to do here is just fill my little containers with dirt. Alright y'all, so you know that I've already told you in a previous video that I've not been the greatest at seed starting. I just haven't really done a whole lot of it. So when I learned to garden, I learned in a much warmer climate than this, and I just direct sowed everything. And I never did do a spring or fall. I just, honestly, I didn't know. I was like, trying to figure out how old I was. It's like 20, 21 years old. And I didn't grow up with parents that gardened. My grandmother on my mother's side, she gardened a lot. And she's actually the one that gave me a love for flowers and grapes, believe it or not. She didn't do as much vegetable gardening as I like to do, but she did do a little bit of it more towards the time that I was a little bit too old to care. When I was a teenager, I wasn't really giving 2 cents about gardening. So when she did start doing vegetables, I wasn't a part of that. My grandpa was. But after I moved away from home and got married, my parents became empty nesters, and guess what? They decided to take on gardening. And my dad actually had a huge love for it, and my mom as well. They both did. But Daddy, he started all of his seeds indoors, and I'm surprised because he didn't use lights, grow lights. He started his, well, we were in a warmer climate, so he could start his in the windowsill and outside, and he did a really good job starting seeds. And I watched him one year when I was in my 30s, probably late 20s, early 30s, and I remember some of his techniques and instructions. And when we get ready to plant these tomatoes, I have a recipe that I just recently found. I was so excited to find this, and he grew the most beautiful tomatoes I have ever seen. I've never seen tomatoes as large as what he grew. And he had his little recipe, and I'm going to make that recipe up. Actually, tomorrow I'm taking my mom and I are going to go back into town. Since we're not going to be hunting for toilet paper, we're going to stop at some of the nurseries, and I'm going to try to find the ingredients that he used to for his tomatoes. And I will share all that with you at another time. But one of the things I remember him telling me when he was planting his seeds, was plant your seeds as deep as they are big. So, like if you have a big bean seed, then you would need to plant your beans as big, as deep as the seed is. And if you have tiny little seeds, like lettuce seeds are really small, if you plant them too deep, then more than likely they're not going to germinate and come up. So that was just one of the rules I remember him telling me, is to plant my seeds as deep as they were big. Down. I'm going to plant beefsteak tomatoes in honor of my dad. I said I wasn't going to do these this year. I was just going to do everything different, but I kind of have to do the beefsteak. And I'm just going to take all of my little sticks that I made and stick them in the front. I forgot to get a watering can, because at this point, after I get my dirt in here, I like to go ahead and get everything watered down, really wet, and then I will drop my seeds right on top, and then I will lightly cover them, because all of them tomato seeds are small. So I'm going to, so my recording, can't tell, it's so bright out here, y'all. And I put my hat on, because if I was to wear one of my knit hats, first of all, I get too hot and start sweating. But I was trying to keep some of the brightness down without putting on my sunglasses. Ooh, aren't these the neatest looking tomatoes you have ever seen? I don't know why these fascinate me. I so hope they turn out being that colorful. If you noticed when I was putting my dirt in, the cells in my container are quite small. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 seeds per cell. So my grandson was supposed to be here this weekend. Actually, I asked if I could have my grandson this weekend so that he could come and help me plant his seed starts. And the answer was no, because he had a birthday party to go to and they had plans of different things, and that's okay. I mean, little guys, they need to have their fun time too. So he's supposed to come and plant his seeds next weekend, which kind of stinks, because it's supposed to snow Friday. Go figure. It's supposed to be 70 degrees here right now today, but on Friday it's gonna snow again. But we probably won't be able to go out into the garden next weekend to do all that. But that's okay, because I've already made different plans on a different video of what we can do when he comes to plant his seeds, and that'll be great. So it's all gonna work out anyhow. This is so cool. Can you tell I like things that look different? I just don't want the same old stuff all the time. Landon wanted to plant ground cherries and cucamelons, so I'm gonna go ahead and plant the ground cherries and cucamelons anyway, and then when he comes, I'm gonna have him plant the same thing. He's gonna start his seedlings here, and then any of the ones that I planted that come up, I'm gonna go ahead and take down to Mike's house and probably plant a few in different areas of the yard. Black beauty. With these seeds that I'm starting, I will have to up pot all of these, because the cells that I'm planting them in are pretty small. And you might wonder, well, why didn't you just start them in a big pot in the first place? Like, I could have started them in a red Solo cup or bigger pots, but the reason why I didn't is because I've only got one shelf with 2 lights all the way down, all the way across it. I will be able to get more starts in one of these trays than I would if I just put them in a Solo cup or anything bigger than this, and I wouldn't have enough room under those lights. It would take up too much room. Now once the seeds get started and I get them where I can up pot them into bigger containers, then when I start hardening them off and bringing them outside when it's warm and not freezing, which you never can tell here in Colorado, if it's gonna be freezing or not. Don't get me started on that. It doesn't bother me to have to up pot these, and the reason why is because by the time they're ready for me to pot into a larger container, we will probably be under snow again. And it will make me feel good to know that while I am stuck in the house, I will be working on my seedlings and my garden, and that's pretty exciting to me. I love doing this kind of stuff. So separating seeds and potting them up in different containers will be just fine for me. It's not a waste of time to me. It fills that time and that void. What void? The void I have with my husband being gone. Sometimes it gets lonesome. So it's nice to have things to do to make the time go by faster. I'm pretty excited about using my dad's formula for his tomatoes. One time he grew a beefsteak tomato. They weighed this tomato, and it was a beefsteak, and it was over 2 pounds. That sucker was huge, huge. So I'm hoping that my Abe Lincoln and my Breakfast Kellogg and my Great White tomatoes, I hope they're just as big 2-pounders like his was. I've never grown a 2-pound tomato. I don't even know if I've ever grown a 1-pound tomato. But I am certainly going to try this year. That will be, oh, there's my beefsteaks. In honor of Daddy, I'm going to plant beefsteaks. He would be proud of me for planting this particular tomato. He sure loved it. So I just got to thinking, I'm planting 2 tomato seeds per cell, and then I will split them up. So I told you I'm planting 50 tomato seeds. So if all of them come up, that's going to be 100 tomatoes. I have a little confession. My garden is too small for what I want to do in it. I have way more desire than I do garden space. My desire to grow all these different things is huge, and I don't have enough garden space for it. But if one of these days I will, one of these days I am going to turn that back field down there into a massive garden with arched trellises on the entryways. I can't wait. Well, it's kind of bittersweet if you want the truth. I say I can't wait, but the only way I'm going to get it is when my dogs pass away. That's kind of stinks. You might say, well, why don't you do it with your dogs? Well, there's they're too wild. I'm gonna go ahead and take this tray of tomatoes. I'm gonna go ahead and take this tray of tomatoes down to the basement into my closet and put them under the grow lights. And of course that would be after I spritz the tops of them. And then I have one more tray over here that I'm gonna get planted up today. And like I already told you, it's going to be my ground cherries and the cucamelons and cucumbers and my peppers, my jalapenos, my eggplant, and oh, and some Brussels sprouts. I'm going to go ahead and get this tray planted up. I have my new vegetable garden book that I need to go ahead and write down the date. We're in March. I'm going to go ahead and write everything down and what I got started and keep track of it like I'm doing with my other ones. So I'm going to let y'all go right here and we'll just catch you on the next go around. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Y'all have a blessed week coming up. Bye-bye.